To put a lid on that defense.
Georgia and Georgia Tech. Everybody was stopping each other in this game. Gunnar Stockton, Zachariah Branch hunker down with a 10-3 lead, 10-point lead for Georgia now. Haynes King. Looking deep, Ellis Robinson, the fourth.
What a play.
Just a spectacular play.
Georgia's been a resilient team all year. They held him to 69 yards rushing, down to a Hail Mary here, Rece, at the end.
Had a chance to. Tech came from backed up against their goalpost basically, and the Dogs waved goodbye, winning it 16-9. Georgia, by the way, is going to the SEC championship game because of what you're about to see here. Mike Elko's team undefeated, but a tight game against Arch Manning and Texas. Texas ran for 218 yards last night, easily best against an SEC opponent. They've been averaging 75 yards a game on the ground running. Marcel Reed picked off by Michael Tass.
Yeah, great job by this defense. Pete Kwiatkowski had a heck of a plan together, took away their running game, put Marcel Reed in some obvious passing situations, and then came up with 2 picks to really control this game.
It seemed as if Reed got a little anxious late, and Sark's team wins it by 10.
Everyone said we were dead and gone when we were leaving Athens, but we weren't. We weren't. We get up, ding, ding, we get back in the middle of the ring, and we fight. We've done something that hadn't been done here since 1969 and 1970. We swept OU, we swept Arkansas, and we swept A&M 2 years in a row, man. 2 years in a row.
So let the lobbying commence for Texas to try to get in as an at-large because they cannot make the SEC championship game. Neither can Texas A&M. Despite the fact that they'll finish in a tie for first, they're going to lose all the tiebreakers. So it's down to this. It's Georgia and Alabama if Alabama beats Auburn tonight. If Auburn wins the game, well, it's another layer to the Lane Kiffin saga with Hottie Toddy going to the SEC championship game for the first time. There are a lot of things to look at here, but the first one is, what do you think this does to A&M? And do you view Texas as a legitimate contender to get in that large spot as a result of this?
There's so many potential 10-2, in this case 9-3 teams stacked up. It's they're on the outside looking in. Depends on what's going to happen above them. I don't think you look at A&M and think, okay, this isn't the A&M team that we thought. It's a rivalry game we just talked about in the last segment. Anything can happen, especially when you're on the road against a Texas team that was really hungry. I do want to ask Coach Saban one thing. Now that we're at this 12-team playoff, I've heard a lot of people say, well, the SEC championship game doesn't matter the way it used to. And I guess technically that's correct. But as a coach in 2025, if you're out there and it's like, okay, Georgia might play Bama, they might play whoever's going to Ole Miss, does it still matter for the SEC players and fans when the results don't matter the way they used to?
Yeah, well, it matters to me, because I always thought winning the SEC was a significant accomplishment for your team. Yeah. Now, but when you add this playoff deal to it, and I'd like to ask Kirby today, are you happy that you're in the SEC championship game?
That's what I mean. We're talking about, hey, you're in it. It's like, do I really want to be in it?
Yeah, because he doesn't need to be in it.
Right.
Alabama needs to win their way through it probably to be able to get in the playoffs, so that's a different scenario. But what do you do at Ole Miss when they have never been in the SEC championship game ever?
Yeah.
And if Alabama loses, they get in the SEC championship game, and they're not going to allow Lane to coach in the game?
You have to.
That's crazy.
You would have to let him coach.
So that would be in a situation where Lane would choose to go coach elsewhere as opposed to stay at Ole Miss, which we're allegedly getting an answer today. I think on that note, it is fascinating how everything seems to be like a year-to-year contract for players. So I don't think the players have really been affected by the entire Lane Kiffin thing as much as everybody else has. But there's recruiting deadlines, there's transfer portals. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for people to be upset about a lot of different things. I hope Ole Miss gets to celebrate the incredible season and build that they've had over the last couple of years, regardless of the situation. And Lane, you could still stay at Ole Miss as an option. That is still very much an option. And who knows if he's even made his decision. But on that note, Texas A&M's Elko last night, getting mad about the press conference and everything like that, that's perfect for a rivalry game. Texas getting that win. Obviously, Sark starts pitching to get into the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
We still want the big games. It's like lost to Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, overtime games. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're going to certainly have to do.
The Florida loss, the 3-8.
All of that has to count. How did they play? They didn't play well in some of those games. They looked like a playoff team last night.
Definitely.
Maybe the first time, though.
I mean, not to be critical, but they looked like a playoff team for one half. That first half was
That's not good. It was really not good football. But you have to give Sark, his staff, a lot of credit. They made the proper second half adjustments to run away with that game in the second half. To me, that's what championships teams are able to do. A championship team can do in-game adjusting, make different moves. And I thought that second half, he actually outcoached Elko and their staff.
How's that work? Just quickly, kind of new here. So the College Football Playoff Committee, you need a couple people in that room that are like, we like Texas, and then they kind of lobby for the entire thing? Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah, a guy like Mark D'Antonio, who's a football coach, maybe he's in there saying, wow, this team. But to me, you're stacked up in the SEC. You start to look at the teams, you can only probably get 5 if you're fortunate to get 5, maybe 4. Texas is down there. You got Vandy out there at 10-2.
Yes.
I think there's a good chance Vandy just had a ceiling put on them by Texas last night. They needed Texas out of the way.
Yeah, you're right.
They lost them head-to-head. Absolutely. Alabama's the same way, but there's still plenty to play for Vanderbilt in this rivalry game against Tennessee. This is the first time they've met when both teams are ranked. First time the Doors have been ranked when they played the ball since 1958. And they lost, as they usually do. But remember what Pavia said this summer, that this year Vanderbilt's going to run the state of Tennessee as DoorDash hot streak since November 1. Nobody has been hotter than Diego Pavia, who I really think going to get strong consideration for the Heisman.
Absolutely. I think him going to New York seems to make sense, especially with everything he's done for that entire institution in the city of Nashville and Vanderbilt. You get it. But the last 3 times that Vandy has played at Tennessee, here's the spreads. Okay, 27.5, 32, and 23. Today, 2.5 is the spread. That is the story of this Vandy team. That is the story of Diego Pavia. He gets a massive win here over a top-ranked Tennessee team in this historically dominated by Tennessee rival. Both these teams, obviously, in schools, founders of the SEC is what I've been told. I didn't even know Vandy had a football team for a long time. Last 3 games, he's averaged 476 total yards, has had 14 touchdowns, no turnovers. Tell me about Diego Pavia today, Coach.
Well, he's going to have a great opportunity because Tennessee's defense has actually given up over 30 points a game against every SEC opponent. And Diego usually takes advantage of those situations, so that won't surprise me. But I think the big thing is how is Vandy's defense going to stop Tennessee, who has the capability of scoring a whole lot of points?
Feels like a shootout. Feels like a game where maybe Vandy, they control the clock, try to keep that Tennessee offense on the sideline and try to take the will of the Tennessee team. You just said it, 122 years of college football at Vanderbilt. Probably you could argue the biggest game in school history. I mean, this is a massive opportunity, a big deal in that city of Nashville, big deal in that state of Tennessee.
It was superb. And starting the day, Utah was still in the mix. Kansas played great. The pick 6, Jalen Daniels, as talented as he is, that too has been the Achilles heel. So Utah taking it all the way the other way. Rece Davis.
Rece loves the Jayhawks. They just came up a little bit short.
Just a little bit. Every time.
That's one of his teams.
I do, man. I try to whip them home every week, and it just doesn't happen. Okay, so this is what happens now. The Big 12 championship game is set. Texas Tech go to Morgantown, see if you can catch them napping. Might be Superdog implication.
Never know.
BYU and UCF, and then BYU, Texas Tech, they meet at noon on ABC. Second time they've met. We saw the first game dominant by the Red Raiders. How difficult is it to beat the same team, a good team, twice?
I think it's very, very difficult, and I would alert Texas Tech to that. LSU beat us in 2011 in the regular season. We beat them in the national championship game.
Did they cross midfield that game?
No.
I don't think they did.
No, not in the second.
They
did in the first game.
I remember that game.
And then we played Georgia. We beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Then they beat us in the national championship game. So, revenge should not be a factor in the game. But these young guys, when they get disrespected, they are motivated as hell. And look out, Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's a good call.
I would say
season worse in points, yards, turnovers in that game.
And if they win, The Big 12 gets 2.
Yep.
And that affects the SEC and the Big 10.
Hey, this right here, Rece, happens a lot against this defense
This
right
is
here.
very true.
They got a top 5 D-line. They got everything.
People
Hey,
don't
Stanford
wanna believe
Steve,
in
you've
this.
got the Big 12 love on your board there, don't you?
They need to for the long haul.
I'm with you.
They got
Yeah, I looked at BYU, what they've done since that game, Rece. When they went to Cincinnati last week, L.J. Martin ran wild. The game before that, they hosted TCU. Bear Bachmeier, they took the reins off, threw the ball all over the place. Still need some style points for that committee. I'm going to lay the points with BYU against UCF
Steve
tonight.
makes a good point about L.J. Martin, too. When they played Texas Tech, L.J. Martin was just coming off of an injury. He was just trying to get his rhythm back, and then they turned the ball over too many times, too, against the Red Raiders.
Has Steve been in your closet?
You're looking good, Steve. You're looking good.
Hey, this first one's for everybody, so stop. Love the uniforms. Best uniform combination on the field today. Here are the categories. Michigan's going blue on blue.
These are all
against
great.
Ohio State. Alabama, Auburn, and then UCLA and SC both wearing the home unis.
Oh, man, that Buckeye uniform just looks so good, doesn't it? You can see the little Buckeye leaves up there. This guy's done some stuff on the football field. It's all over the place. That's beautiful. I mean, that is beautiful up there.
This uniform right here,
What?
this logo right here is the perfect combination. The maize and blue and the Jumpman, man, that's it. Old school, traditional maize and blue, gotta love that, right?
I like how USC and UCLA do the home and home. I think that's
Me too.
always good. I love just growing up. I think 1983 was the first time I saw Bo Jackson play in that game.
Ooh,
on TV.
Bo Jackson, yeah.
But it's just something about that combination.
Yes, sir.
Especially overcast, snow coming down.
Yes,
it doesn't
sir.
get any better. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Hey, man, they expect to see that when they run out of the tunnel, and we never change that.
That's right. Yeah,
I love it.
I appreciate
But when
that.
I was a kid, I always liked this team only because of their blue and gold.
I respect that. So we all agree then.
I love
The Ohio State Buckeye uniform.
I agree. The traditional whites.
Now you're wearing blue.
I got to run red, huh? Right here.
Kirk Herbstreit's wearing blue. He's boy. He's a Michigan dad.
How many records would Jeremiah Love set today against Stanford?
If he gains over 132 yards and scores 2 touchdowns, he is going to break 4 all-time records. Is that
And
if I'm
yes.
correct?
And
on
the
that?
scrimmage yards.
So,
Yes.
and I think he will do it.
Yeah.
First half, he'll do it.
He's been the most outstanding player
Yeah,
in
no
college football all year long.
A lot of guys.
Jeremiah Love.
A lot of guys have run the ball for Notre Dame, right? In the history,
yeah?
This guy's the best of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Jerome Bettis,
He's
Alan
he's an
Pinkett.
incredible talent.
Great guys.
Ricky Waters.
Incredible.
And you think they're going to do it on the day they're giving away the general now, Andrew Luck bobblehead? Stanford, new coach to beat a Pritchard there.
Alan Pinkett, another good one.
Stop.
Most
Underrated rivalry being played today.
Ooh,
I tell you the one that
a good one.
stands out to me.
Which one is that?
There's 2. South Carolina, Clemson, doesn't matter what's at stake.
Right.
Usually a pregame brawl.
Yeah.
And Oregon, Washington.
Yeah.
Oregon,
That's a great
Washington. I don't think the nation understands how nasty that rivalry
Good
is. I think
old-fashioned
Oregon,
hate.
Washington.
Good old-fashioned
And Dan
hate.
Lanning's 1-3
Yeah.
against,
No, I agree with
against
you
the
on that
Dogs.
one because I didn't realize it until we had Oregon last week.
Yeah,
Man, those people hate
Hate.
Washington.
They hate it.
Absolutely, bro.
They do.
What do you got, Debs?
Stop. Would you rather win the CFP or win this game?
What's that?
Oh, man. Win
Speak
the
for the
CFP
people.
or win this game? Yeah, well, we talked earlier on the desk about how important these rivalry games are.
Do the right thing, Des.
You know,
Go
but
ahead.
this team lost this game last year, and they had the super team, and they lost to this team that couldn't even throw the ball.
Okay.
And so that was like an asterisk to this thing that they actually won.
Okay.
I don't know about
So
that.
I'm just saying that's what happened. That's how it played out.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, I'm going to go on
That's
record 'cause
how
I
you
said
answer a
last
question
year,
without answering the question.
when I chewed out Ohio State's fans, when they lost to Michigan, and they still had a chance to win the national championship. I pointed out how psychotic they must be.
Right.
So I think winning a national championship is something you never forget. That's a legacy you never forget.
So you would take a loss in the Iron Bowl in 2025 and a win, make a 4-game run and win it all.
As much as our fans wanted to win the Iron Bowl, I'd rather win the national championship.
Go. Okay, that's reality of today's world.
He did it in 2017. Lost the Iron Bowl, won the national championship.
That's right. Break Roll Tide Willie's heart, though. Stop! Who plays the role of spoiler today? Interesting. I saw you on SportsCenter earlier today.
Yes, sir.
Talking about Virginia Tech down there at Virginia.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's like the most important game that they have ever had in that particular rivalry game.
100%.
Michigan can once again be a spoiler to an Ohio State team and dance for the next 364 days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them out there that are available.
So who plays spoiler today? West Virginia.
Doesn't matter. I don't think.
There you go.
I don't think it matters, But maybe this. How about this? Pitt plays spoiler today.
Knocked off Miami
It's not a rivalry game
at home.
but I think Pitt will potentially play spoiler.
What about
That's a
Auburn?
good call.
Play spoiler. That's
Alabama going to the haunted house is scary.
They're scared as hell.
All right, they tell me this one's for me, so stop. The impact of the weather feels pretty nice. I'm going to phone a friend here, if I could. And there is Jess Sims inside the big house. So Jess, give me a little.
Rece Davis. I'm glad that it feels good there because it is cold as shit in the stadium. So just wait for it, all right?
If you're keeping score at home, that's Jess's first bad word on TV. There's one. Okay.
It took 4 years, but I'm here. I finally made it. We talked to both Michigan and Ohio State, and Michigan said, hey, it's a great day to play some football, isn't it? And that's definitely some Big Ten football talk because it could definitely afford to be a little bit warmer, all right? But Ohio State says that the best and warmest seats are right here on the sideline. These are 185-degree Dragon seats. They're not on right now, so I'm really faking this, but they're going to be 185 degrees. They're going to be wearing long johns. They're going to be wearing things like this scuba shirt. You can see this neoprene on the outside, some fleece on the inside. We also got these hand muffs. Yes, you just put it around your waist. They put the hot hands in here, but don't you worry. In the locker room, they have an array of hot beverages. They're going to have hot chocolate, hot cider. They have bone broth. So, guys, the guys at Black Diesel Coffee right outside the big house are hooking y'all up with some hot beverages. Please bring them down here and bring them up for me because
Hey.
Thank you so
it
much.
is not warm in here.
Jess, do you get any warm drinks?
Thank you.
No, please bring me some. I need some.
Okay, yeah, it looks like it.
I can't feel my hands.
How cold is it, Jess? How cold is it down there?
I mean, they say the meteorologist says 20 degrees, but it feels like -7.
Okay, got it.
Let me say something.
Okay.
When we played in cold weather games, because of these seated heats, I coached my ass off because it was colder on the sidelines than it was over by
Amen. Amen. Cheers to technology, by the way.
And by the way, we're acting like Columbus is some tropical locale. And, of course, the big one, Virginia and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has absolutely owned Virginia, but the Cavaliers are one win away from going to the ACC championship game. That part of it is very straightforward as you try to unfold all the scenarios. All 6 of these teams are alive in some manner of speaking. Virginia wins if they win, or SMU and Pitt lose. SMU simply needs to win. There are other methods, but if they beat Cal, they're in. Pittsburgh win, beat Miami, and have Virginia and SMU lose. They can get in, or if them lose. Now, Duke's got away, and it's all of that. Georgia Tech has an even longer shot. Could come down to the SportsSource analytics waking, and we keep getting the font smaller and smaller and smaller for Miami's chance. But the two teams, straightforward path, Virginia, SMU, Tony Elliott, Rhett Lashley, one step left.
We are chosen. We are chosen to represent this side of the rivalry. We have a responsibility to play our best game on Saturday night. Y'all understand that, right? Yes, sir. That's no pressure. If anything, that should get you excited, right? That should get you freaking excited. Our side has gone way too long without having that privilege. So let's earn that privilege for our folks to be able to have bragging rights.
That's our mindset. And if we all come together and have one focus, we're going to attack this thing, and there is no way we're coming out of there without a win. Like, however hard or easy it is, doesn't matter. We all come in together, over 100 people walk into a place in alignment that we're finding a way to win this game, and we're going to attack that full speed every snap. Good things will happen.
SMU's second year in the ACC, they could go to the title game for the second year. Virginia's been to the title game. They've never won the ACC. And the big problem for them, this Virginia Tech hurdle, they've lost 18 of the last 19 games against the Hokies, but it's a great opportunity for Tony Elliott's team.
Tremendous opportunity for UVA. I mean, they were picked preseason to finish 14th in the conference. So tremendous job by Tony Elliott and his staff and this group, very disciplined group, one of the least penalized teams in the conference. They'll be without their linebacker, Cam Robinson. But James Jackson, another linebacker, said they have a deep, talented linebacking room that those guys will step up. I think they're going to beat Virginia Tech. It's going to be a close game, but I got UVA winning this game, Kirk.
It's been a heck of a year, obviously, for what Virginia's been able to do this year. I think what Rece just said is remarkable. When we were seeing all this realignment, SMU ends up going to the ACC. I think a lot of people don't even know they're in the ACC. Yet Rhett Lashley has put his team in a position where they go out to Cal, who just fired their coach, Justin Wilcox. They can win this game. He's 14-1, by the way, in the month of November. That's 2 straight years, their first 2 years in the ACC, like you said, Rece, of getting there. I think they do punch their ticket. I think they get there, and that's a heck of a job again by Lashley.
Now, there's a team that's looking for SMU to lose or UVA to lose, and that would be Pitt. And Narduz said a couple weeks ago to Notre Dame, we could lose by 100, and it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you what, they almost did, and he was right. Because now they knock off Georgia Tech last week on Senior Day. I think we all had a lot of appreciation for Georgia Tech. They were in the driver's seat a lot longer than any other team. Pitt goes down there with this freshman, Heinchel, and gets a huge win. Now they have an opportunity at home. Going to be cold as hell. I mean, Jess Sims describes it maybe as a little something different in there in Pittsburgh. Miami's got to travel up. Can they protect Heinchel from Mesidor and Bain is the big-time question. If they can, maybe Pitt makes the big-time upset and Pitt gets into the ACC championship. That would be insane after what we've seen this year.
Look, I think if Miami finds their way into the playoffs, they will be one of the most dangerous teams in the playoffs. Forget about the ACC. I mean, with Carson Beck, the offensive line they have, the skill guys they have, the defense they have, I don't want to say they underachieved by losing 2 games, but if they get in this playoff, they're going to be the most dangerous team that anybody has to play because of the talent level they have.
Do you think that's why the CFP committee has had them ranked so high? Because they see the same thing you see. They see 6'4", 240 pounds coming off one side, 6'3", 230 off the other side. They have the most Sunday-like team, it appears, which is probably what the CFP committee has been hoping for. A lot of things have to happen for them to get to the ACC championship. Maybe an at-large.
They need Bama to lose is what they need. Because they're not going to get to that Notre Dame. We'll talk about the CFP later. It'd be hard for them to get into that where head-to-head matters.
You're right. They need to get in the large conversation, but one of the things is comparable opponents or same opponents. Or you mentioned what Notre Dame did to Pittsburgh. Notre Dame plays Stanford tonight. Miami pulled away from Stanford in the second half.
Good.
So those are a couple of more data points to look at, too.
Yeah. But to your point, it is hard to ignore the eyeball test. And there's some good-looking football teams out there that I think are going to be real challenges when it comes to the playoffs.
Yep.
You didn't want to say it. Maybe it's late in the season. I'll say it. They underachieved by losing those 2 games. I have an allegiance for him. That former Ohio State captain, son dressing out with the Wolverines.
He's got blue pants on.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
A red tie and blue.
But speaking of not knowing which colors to wear, Lane Kiffin still in Ole Miss garb for the moment. Yesterday in the Egg Bowl, Trinidad Chambliss was great. What a catch that was. Deshaun Stribling late in the first half. Game was pretty much over there. Stribling again. Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl 38-19. So now Ole Miss can get in the SEC championship game if Alabama loses to Auburn tonight. So that just adds another layer to Lane Kiffin's decision. Decision 2025. For more, we have Marty Smith, who's watching all the precincts. Have you got some early precincts reporting and how the voting is coming in for Lane Kiffin, Marty?
Indeed, I do, Rece. Good morning, everyone. The precinct is very active at 8 a.m. Family Kiffin Yoga here in Oxford. Lane told me this morning, I'm going to 8 a.m. yoga with my family. It's non-negotiable. We do it every week. However, to your point about the SEC championship, after yoga, he's coming here to the facility with his staff to start game planning for the Georgia Bulldogs in case Alabama loses tonight and the Rebels suddenly find themselves in Atlanta next weekend with the opportunity to play for a conference championship. So, does that thereby delay the meeting with Keith Carter, the athletics director here, in the opportunity to determine where his future will be? Kiffin told me that meeting is this afternoon. But there's much he wants to do before then. First of all, Coach Saban, keep your phone on. Kiffin told me he wants to have in-depth conversations both with Coach Saban regarding the positives and negatives of both of these jobs, as well as Pete Carroll, who he got a text from last night which said, "Call me anytime, Lane. I promised your father I would always take care of you." Rece Kiffin reiterated to me again this morning, this is not about money. In fact, he told me the only monetary decisions that have been had are about player roster. How much are you going to allot for my players in order to accrue the best talent at this university that I so choose to spend my future?
All right, Marty. Marty will keep watching it and you can keep your phone on. And when he does, how does the potential of playing in the SEC championship game for Ole Miss? They haven't won a conference championship since the 60s. They've never been in the game. How does it change the dynamic and how Ole Miss should handle it and how Lane should handle it?
Well, I think they should let Lane coach his team, number one. But I think Lane's decision is going to come down to one thing, and that thing is just what Marty said. Where is the place that I can recruit the best players? And I think, one of Lane's apprehensions is he's had to use the portal to build his team at Ole Miss each year. And at LSU, he probably could recruit better talent and then just supplement his team by need with the portal. And that's probably the dilemma that he has, as well as his loyalty to his team that he's coaching now, that he wants to be able to continue to coach. So it's a tough thing to have the right answer to.
The tricky part is the year Ole Miss is having. Forgetting Atlanta and the SEC championship, this team is a team you don't want to play in the CFP right now. So I think if you're in charge at Ole Miss and if Lane decides to go elsewhere, I think you need to set your emotions to the side. You need to look at 2025 and this team with their coach and giving them a chance to finish this run, whoever that might be. That's the tricky part here. I think there's no doubt if you talk to the players, some of them have come out publicly and said, we want our coach to coach us to the end. So I think Ole Miss administration is put in a very tough spot because if he were going to stay at Ole Miss, Eli Drinkwitz has already re-upped. Clark Lee has re-upped. Don't you think we would have already seen he's re-upping and staying at Ole Miss? So there's chances are he's going to Baton Rouge. I think Ole Miss has to accept that and look at this as a magical year. You've never done what you're doing right now. Let Lane Kiffin, if he leaves, and these players finish the run this year.
I understand both sides of it. I mean, I would do that. I've said that. I think he ought to be able to finish coaching. But, I mean, look, this is Lane's
if you kick him out.
Nobody's making him do this. This is not the only big job that will ever come open again.
Forget Lane. If you say, you're going to LSU, then get out of here. What does that do to your team that's been able to block out the noise? They look pretty good in the Egg Bowl.
They did, no doubt.
So let them finish the run.
What's best for the players?
Yep.
How about making a decision on what's best for the players?
Let them finish.
For the coach to finish the year.
And we'll see what is best for the players, because one thing I would take issue with you, if he's coaching a team and he's lame duck on his way out, I'd like to see him in that bracket. But I mean, any distraction you can get.
How about Jim Harbaugh in 2023 with all that noise on the outside and the job that Michigan did in focusing on finishing the drill? There was talk about him going to the NFL while they were preparing.
It's different than going to a rival.
Yeah,
different than going to a rival.
I just think the timing of the calendar, the schedule, the transfer portal, the recruiting deadline, there's so many people that have to think about the future. It's a terrible situation for everybody, all parties involved, or it could be awesome. And once again, I don't think until this morning, I mean, you guys know better than me, I don't think Lane has completely surveyed the entire situation.
I'd love to see him find out. He doesn't even know it until tonight, until he knows where he's playing in the SEC championship.
It's crazy. If he was to stay at Ole Miss, he'd be a god. And then there might be a job open in the future, maybe, if it doesn't work out. Yeah. But if you go to LSU, I guess you just have a better recruiting class than, and they don't even have a coach. They have a better recruiting class than everybody. So
that's a lot. He's in that state.
Good luck, Lane.
And there's a lot of trickle down on this, too. Latest you got there.
Well, Rece, there's huge dominoes after Lane Kiffin. Let's start with Tulane coach John Sumrall. He's had significant interest from Auburn, significant interest from Florida. He could end up in the Ole Miss LSU mix depending on what Lane does. Sources told me last night and reiterated this morning that Sumrall is the clear favorite to be the next head coach at the University of Florida. Sumrall's not going to make an official decision until tomorrow. Tulane obviously plays tonight for a shot at the AAC title game. But look for Sumrall in the Gators to come together at some point. He looms as the favorite right there. The next domino obviously comes at Auburn. DJ Durkin coaches in the Iron Bowl tonight as the interim. Opportunity looms for him to make a heck of a final impression. The Auburn job and the Arkansas job could end up intersecting at Alex Golesh. Alex Golesh is the USF coach. He has an offer from Arkansas. There's interest from Auburn. Ole Miss is also expected to be interested if Lane Kiffin leaves. Golesh plays Rice tonight, and he's not expected to make a decision until tomorrow. It's going to be a hectic 24 hours, guys, for all these dominoes to fall.
We don't root, we only root for stories, but there's a segment later in the show that would let me say I hope Alex Golesh is very distracted tonight.
Yes, you do.
Against Rice. I need him to be distracted.
You want this, you got that. No way, what you want.